MLK,
you know, surface things about what that person did. But when it gets down to, you know, do we know some kings and queens that, you know, were present in Africa that are our descendants? And our children, you know, that's one major reason we homeschool, is because we want our children to know their culture. You know, I don't have anything against Disney, but that is not a princess that looks like my child, and I don't want her to only see that, you know, I want her to know historical princesses that she can be proud of. Queen Nzinga, Queen Hatshepsut. So, you know, when we had, you know, Kwanzaa at our house the other day, you know, some of the principles, we had Nia, which means purpose. Kujishakalia means self-determination. And, you know, there's these 7 principles that we can apply to every day of our life. And I think that, you know, when you don't know your culture, you kind of just kind of walk around almost like a zombie, and anyone can pour anything into your brain. And it, you know, with small children, and we did it for the children. We had like 20 children sitting in our living room as we let them sing stuff and perform, and we read stories to them, but it was about them. And we played games. We took it old school. We played Simon Says and stuff, but that was after we talked about the principles, and they repeated them, and they were just so bright. And, you know, they don't learn that in school. You know, I didn't learn anything like that in school. You know, so Midtown Eco Village is not only about healthy lifestyles and environmental sustainability, but it's about community solidarity, and that's why we want to be on the historic 2nd Avenue. We know what used to be on 2nd Avenue, which is now Mary McLeod Bethune. We saw in Mrs. Heard's shop and bought a shirt with all the black businesses that were on the street, and there's no reason that that street cannot be a booming hub again of culture.
Right.
And, you know, if we can start to trailblaze with our little shop and making smoothies, then hey, that's what we're gonna do.
She has so much energy, I tell you. And you know, but you know what is so great and so awesome? Not only the fact that you guys are young, that you actually have a tie with the area, you've come back, you're actually involved, you're actually doing some good stuff for the young people, which is super. But also, you're in many ways, you're a role model too of what others can do and should do, because there are opportunities out there for people if they just want to take advantage of it, and it involves taking a risk, you know. But once you've done that, once you've taken that leap, you actually then, I'm sure, you start to feel a sense of confidence, you know, about who you are and what you can do. You know, and just looking at all of the many possibilities that are out there of things that you can do beyond what it is that you're already doing, beyond what it is that you already see. So you see, you know, awesome possibilities. And then in homeschooling your kids actually see you as a role model of somebody who's doing something, you know, having an impact. And your daughters are gorgeous, just beautiful. They speak their mind like their mommy.
And don't forget, we have one little prince named Fela. Fela, Amali, and Tandy, because I know they're listening. Hi.
75 and 2.
Oh gosh, yes. She's the one who never wants to let me go. She just keeps saying, bye, give me a hug.
This is at the city commissioner meetings that they bring puzzles and stuff too, and we hang out in the lobby.
But you know what's good, because when my kids were younger, I used to take them to conferences and the like, and it's good for them to see that, to be around that kind of activity, to really know that it exists. So that as they grow up, it's something they're used to, you know, something that's not odd and strange for them, because I think a lot more young people and a lot more older people would come to commission meetings and get involved if it was something that was tied in with, you know, the way they were raised and what they were about. And when you talk about the African American history, 2nd Avenue, which is now Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard, was a bustling, active, and I mean, they made money, a lot of good money.
I saw the pictures that Gordon Parks took, you know, of the strip. And, you know, there is a lot of, you know, there's a lot of families like the Hugers, and, you know, families that have been there forever, and that, just have a legacy of service. And you know what it's important for my children to see in their day-to-day is that we are not the only ones that love them, and we're not the only ones that are looking out for them. You know, we live in Pine Haven right now, and you know, a lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about Pine Haven.
We love Pine Haven.
We love living in Pine Haven. You know, I know the history of Pine Haven and what it used to be when I was at Campbell, and I also know that my kids and I ride our bikes outside, and that we wave to our neighbor, Miss KK, and we bring her a smoothie, and she supports every event that we do. And you know, if I have some clothes that don't fit my children, I'm gonna knock on my other neighbor's door and give them to her. And it's still a very much a community and a village. And I've lived in tons of neighborhoods, and I have not felt the sense of community that Daytona Beach has, specifically Midtown. And for my children to now live there and, you know, again get to be in a community where people look like them and love them and speak to them and encourage them and give them $1 old school style, and just, you know, I just love it. I honest to God love it, and I don't regret moving back here. And you know, we got a check in the mail the other day from someone that just said they wanted to support what we were doing. And our people are not going to let us starve, and we know that, and we're really encouraged to work with the Bethune-Cookman students. We had a lot of them volunteer for our last event, and really wanting to build that relationship between the community and the university, and just really make it strong.
Absolutely. There's a lady who lives out there too. Her name is Celeste, and I'll just say a shout out to her. Wonderful lady who actually volunteers and with young children. And for anyone out there who might have a vehicle that they would love to just pass on to her. She is trying to get her a car. She used to have a car, and then she had problems with it, and then she got into a bad deal where she thought she actually was buying a car that she could afford, and she couldn't afford it. Somebody talked her into it, so she ended up losing it. And right now she still continues to volunteer her time. They're working with the children at the Child's Academy. And I think there's at least one other place where she volunteers as well. And I know she's in her 70s and the like, and she walks everywhere she goes, or she takes the bus. So she's very much interested in having a vehicle where she doesn't have to pay car payments, guys, but she can take care of the insurance and everything else that she needs to do. So if anybody knows of anything, please let me know so I can pass that on to Sister Celeste. Now, I was at a county council meeting today with the Center for Business Excellence. We're trying to really maintain, get a resolution from them, which they approved unanimously, to maintain control of our Center for Business Excellence. We used to call it Workforce Development, and they call it Private Industry Council and the like, a place that puts together employers with job seekers. But there's a move afoot by the governor to actually control that, control who's appointed, control the budget and everything else, and we think it should be local control. So they did approve that. But while we were there waiting to come up to talk about that resolution, Dixie Marquise was making a presentation, and one of the areas and things that she talked about was the cafe that you guys do, and the services that are provided to individuals who come to, and it's located in the Child's Academy, services that are provided to individuals who, many of them have children, and she said really if somebody just comes and just sits there and just wants to be involved or volunteer or whatever, you do that as well. And our County Councilwoman Joyce Cusack, by the way, she was elected as the Vice Chair of the County Council. Applause, applause, and a shout out to her. Yes. But she does plan on calling you guys so she can come and get more information on that, because you guys do receive some funding through the County Council, from what I gather, for the cafe or whatever. Maybe that's through Dixie. I saw Dixie does. Okay. But she was wondering how many people have gone through the program thus far, and I remembered a number from you. Wasn't it over 100 or so?
That have joined the cafe?
Participants and all of that.
I'm not sure the exact number. I know we do have a Our next cafe is going to be on the 20th at Child's Academy. That's a Friday. And it's just a really, it's a really great place to network with other parents and, just share resources and just have support. Whether you need support because you're a single parent or you're in a domestically violent relationship, whatever you need as a parent, like, is this normal? Should my child be eating paper? Whatever it is that questions you want to ask, childcare is provided, and we get to sit and we have like a circle and talk about, issues that affect us. And to me, that's very powerful. Someone who's been working on a parenting documentary for, like 7 years since I started being a parent. I've been obsessed really with parenting and always wanting to see how other people's parenting styles. How do you discipline? Well, do you know you can this? Oh, you can hold up a book. Well, spanking is not the only way. Oh, really? Well, what can you do? It's always great to just empower each other. And I know your show talks about how can you empower and it's so important to just empower yourself in every facet of your life. Diet, just everything. When we say diet, it's not, the way we eat is not a fad. It's not a diet. It's the lifestyle that we live.
It's your way of life.
It's the way of life.
Now the cafe, for those who may have not heard about that, because the way Dixie talked about it, Dixie talks flowers of everything because she's so excited and she just she just loves the work that she does. She has such a passion for it. But she was talking about that as being the way that they're really looking to empower people and to bring people together and to get people connected, parents and others throughout the community, by use of cafes, and that they have them now all over the United States. In fact, I guess she named something like 37, I think, states that have them now. And she wanted to see this type of thing. She felt it would not only grow, but she'd love to see it expand in the area as well. And she was very proud of the cafe that you guys have. And I remember asking you this question when we were at a meeting with the Volusia County Health Department. I said, cafe, so is that about the food? And you said,
food for your mind. I don't know what I said at the time.
I think you were saying, you were talking about it's like cafeteria.
And there's a menu of services,
yes.
right? Like my husband has a community garden, and we did a babysitting for Black Friday. Parents could drop their children off and go for free.
It's just about parents helping parents. The old school way where you didn't so much depend on agencies, but you depended on your neighbor. I'm going to be late. Can you watch Johnny for a few minutes or something like that?
Yes.
Or if a brother was having issues maybe with his wife, like, hey man, I've dealt with this many times. You're not alone. So it's that kind of network and that kind of village.
People helping people.
People helping people.
Yes.
Whether you are like someone that can cut coupons and you know how to do coupon things, or you know how to talk about healthy food, we always give a Midtown Eco Village healthy tip at the cafes, and make sure that there's healthy food at the meetings and stuff. But then there's Dixie is connected to 1 million people, so
a lot of agencies.
There's these, my son went bowling with my husband, I think the junior league had a bowling night. They're having a father-daughter dance coming up.
Yeah.
And these are like fancy events. Some of them are so fancy that, you can't afford it unless you're in the in crowd and you can afford to spend $85 for a ticket at the Hilton to take, you wouldn't be able to, but, at the cafe, like somehow, if you want to be involved and you're really good at basket weaving, well, we want you to come to the community cafe and do that.
And there is a lady out there who does that too, and she's very, very involved in doing it and loves teaching other people. If you're listening, get in touch with them. So this is about truly a village. It's an African proverb, right? That it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah. And it's can't separate what we do. There's all these concentric circles. You know, we run ourselves ragged. You know, my mom, poor my mom, she's like, oh, you know, you run these kids ragged. You guys are